Hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, Ophiuchus, we're going to jump on into a story. By the way, yes, I know I look a little raggedy. I've been out in the wind and the storms with my pup. But we're going to jump on into a story that begins with some Greek mythology because we're in front of a Greek backdrop. So, this week I really wanted to turn to some mythology. And it's super exciting, actually. You guys got Mnemosyne, and so this is the one of the original muses. She's an old god, one of the titans in Greek mythology, and one of the original muses. She eventually gave birth to like nine of the other muses of Zeus. So she's associated with memory. Um, she also is kind of like an oracle goddess. Um, and prophecy. And for this card, it's associated with the Six of Cups, which oftentimes can be associated with nostalgia, things from the past, soulmates, long ago, relationships, people that we've considered to be important to us, or souls that somehow we identify with as kindred spirits. But in this particular starting point, it's really more about memories. Um, and how memories are wonderful if they hold, like things that push us forward into better futures. But if we get lost in the, ruminating over things of the bygone era, it can actually hold us back. So with this in the upright, the Six of Cups, it just encourages Ophiuchus to go ahead and enjoy memories, but not to expect to reside in them. That's super important with this. So let's go ahead and see where that takes our story. Page of Cups. Oh, there is some kind of a truth, something important about a past situation. And if our character can find the truth, and indeed they could have already had a very important conversation, and maybe that's where the truth came from. So perhaps something that happened in the past has already served its purpose. We have a Five of Cups. This can be a sorrow. We could have learned the truth about something that could have been like, oh, that's too bad. The truth is, this doesn't work. We also have a King of Swords upright, though, and a Queen of Cups. It's either, okay, so honestly, the hit that I just got off of this is if if this is a storyline where it's like somebody done somebody wrong at some point in time, but they came clean about it, and that hurt has already occurred, it's time to quit dwelling in the hurt and instead focus on the present and the future. If there is a desire to build and be with someone, even if it was a troubled connection in the past, but those troubles have been addressed, and maybe it's like, wow, someone has said an apology for, I'm sorry that I caused you grief. It's like our character faced that grief, and now is the time to not keep thinking about it. Now is the time to embrace the thing that they actually want, which is the person standing in front of them. If a King of Swords in particular came in with the honor and dignity to apologize for something, for causing someone grief, if our character has chosen to accept that apology, then it's best to let go of the grief and just embark on, this is about two partners who had some kind of falling out. Words were said that were hurtful, and someone has apologized. It's time to really let it go. Now, harder to do depending on what the thing was, right? But this is really saying that that becomes a question. Can a character forget something? Is the love greater than the wound? Is the apology sufficient to restore the love? I think it's such a great message, and this isn't really like a message specific for Ophiuchus. I think it's just a great message in general. Um, if it's not something that can be forgiven, then it's the person who has to be let go. On the other hand, if it is something can be forgiven, once the apology has been made and the forgiveness has occurred, forget it and accept the relationship and move on with joy and happiness and fully experience this, rebuilding the trust and really embrace it and embrace this love. um, but it's kind of like one or the other, and this doesn't mean that the character has to do anything, right? But I think that's great. Food for thought, like, can it be forgiven? And it doesn't have to be, right? Our character does not have to let something go. They can choose to let go of the person instead. But Nine of Wands is in the reverse, the Seven of Pentacles is upright, and the Judgment is here. Look, the way I see this, we're talking about something that is about to happen for Ophiuchus. Someone is going to be coming in to apologize for something that they caused hurt feelings for Ophiuchus, and they're coming in to make a genuine apology. And if Ophiuchus takes them serious and feels like it's genuine, and they wish to take the person back, then the time for continuing to heal or saying, okay, well, I'll take you back, but I'm still healing, this says no. You can't take them back unless it's already healed after after the apology has been made. And I mean, forgive me for putting it in that framework. This is about a fictional story about a fictional character. I'm just reading the cards how they come out. Please know I'm not telling you what you must do. Um, but for this story, it says no more. We're going to use a Yoda-ism here. There is no try, there is only do. Don't try to say, okay, I'll try to heal. No, be healed. They said sorry. If we really believe the apology is coming from a sincere person, then there's no, well, okay, I'll take you back and I'll try to still heal from this. This says, nope, be healed. And now instead, just focus on the building of the relationship without the memory of the wound anymore, because this is a time for great reconciliation. This is a chance for tremendous reconciliation if the apology is sincere and if the thing they're apologizing for can actually be forgiven. And I don't think all things can be, or at least I'm not built that way. Sorry, not sorry. There are certain things I'm like, nope. Doesn't matter. You could apologize for the rest of your life. I don't need the apology. It doesn't change the fact that I see you in a different light. And that's not even me carrying, ooh, hurt feelings or anything. It's just like, I just don't like you anymore that way because I can't unsee what I saw. That's changed things. So apologies are unnecessary at this point because it won't change anything. They can be sorry, that's their burden. I'm not obligated to say, oh, I forgive you and blah, blah, blah. But that's because I'm not a very good person. So I only share that snapshot of the way I operate because A, I'm a flawed human and I want to be honest about that. But B, I don't want anybody to think I'm telling them how this has to go, because this would be somebody better than me by a long shot. Someone who can say, okay, I believe the apology, the hurt is over, and now I'm only going to focus on the healing, and this is an awesome reconciliation. I'm so happy to do this. I don't know how I would behave in that situation, right? It all depends on the thing. The thing, can it be forgiven? So it really begs our character to not live in the past, which I think is a terrific, that's why I say it's such a great food for thought. Because I'm like, who would I be? It would depend. Circumstances are different, right? It depends on the situation. Some things I can let go of easy. I'm not an Ophiuchus, but this is such a great topic for any character, right? Living or fictional. We have the Emperor here. um, the Emperor being here brings in accountability and decisive action. So as tall an order as this whole storyline says, and again, I know it's a tall order. That's why I shared about my own struggles that I would have in this situation. The past occurred. It's already over. If the apology in the present is sufficient and a character still wants to build a future, then it is really the discipline to let go of the past, to not let a past situation color the kind of interaction that can now occur moving forward. And unfortunately, the success of this future between these two rests solely on the person who has to do the forgiving. That's what I see in this story. They have to be the one who completely is able to be disciplined enough to say, I mean it, I forgive, and I'm starting fresh, clean slate with you. That's a huge, huge thing for Ophiuchus to be able to do. What's the advice to Ophiuchus in this whole situation then? The Devil, the Nine of Pentacles, the King of Wands. The Devil is fear. It's also worries about going into something toxic. And the advice on this for our character from the universe anyway is before a character says, okay, I'll take full responsibility for saying I forgive and I'll take you back, is first evaluate, am I getting myself trapped in a toxic connection or making a toxic choice to say I'm going to forgive something that maybe I shouldn't forgive? Because that's the other side of it. What if it's a toxic web? What if I'm saying yes to someone who admittedly is sorry about something that they did, but in reality, they do have a bird flying in front of their eye? Are they someone that I genuinely can trust wholeheartedly? Or is that going to make me toxic? Because the alternate route is to say, no, I'm going to be single until I meet a completely different king, someone that I don't have any history with, someone that I don't have to forgive. Again, only our character can decide, but whatever choice they make has to be made with the clarity of, I'm going to take full responsibility for my choice. Is this toxic for me to say yes to this? Is there any element that I think I'm going back to a situation or forgiving a situation that really isn't good for me? And I've already seen that. Because the alternate route is, if I secretly wish I was single and could go meet somebody better, or if there's any secret, like maybe I'll still get back at them, maybe I'll act like everything's fine, but I'll harbor some hard-hearted energy, still tell them I'm with them, that I've forgiven them, when in fact I view myself as single and I'm looking for somebody else to one up them. As soon as I find a king of wands, I'm going to bounce. This is the other thing. Like, our character doesn't want to slip into a toxic secret web of, well, I said I forgive it, but I don't really, because if I ever meet somebody else, I got that, like, hey, remember that time you hurt my feelings? That's why I'm allowed to do whatever I want. I'm not saying Ophiuchus would do that, but this brings up the question of how to avoid toxicity. And that boils down to, no character wants to accrue negative karma. How do I say this? If something hurt so much that it couldn't be forgiven, then there's no point in pretending that we can. Instead, move on. If something can be forgiven, then it has to be wholeheartedly. And then if these two want to reconcile, and the reconciliation is there on the table, they could have an amazing life together, unless deep down this character doesn't really want it. And again, it's up to them to make that ultimate decision. And the ultimate decision has to be based on, I don't want to become toxic. So I have to be really honest with myself. Is this what I still want? Can I forgive? Does forgiveness mean I reconcile with them and get back together with them? Or does it mean I simply forgive them and move on? Or does it mean I don't have to forgive you, I'm simply moving on? The bottom line is, our character does not want to become toxic. So any path that they choose, they're going to think about it. This is like really a contemplation story, which I think is great, because it does ask those really heavy questions of, how can I avoid being toxic? I don't want to slip into either nostalgia and still being upset about something that I didn't let go, but here I'm trying to rebuild. I also don't want to rebuild that secretly I'm mad and I'm going to get back at them. I don't want to take something back and act like it's okay when it really trespassed on me and I'm not okay. So I think all of this is just like, our character has to give themselves space to figure this out. And if they operate under that mechanism of, I don't want to be toxic, but I'm going to be fully responsible for whatever choice I make, I think that's going to help them come to the conclusion. In this case, we've got the Eight of Cups, we've got the Seven of Swords, and we've got the King of Pentacles. I gotta say, everything here looks to me like Ophiuchus is saying, if I said I was just going to walk away, that might be a lie. Because in truth, I believe that we could still grow. I believe that this could be something stable. I believe that I would want this to be stable. So if I say I'm leaving, I don't know that I'm honest about that because I actually want to see if we can balance this. So, how do they balance this? This to me looks like if Ophiuchus actually wants to go ahead and invest in this, see if there can be a solid Six of Wands, you know, to keep thinking about, like, okay, let's see how consistent is something. I'll put forth my consistent effort. I'll let them put forth their consistent effort, and I'll see, does this make me feel good? Does consistency build something that feels like, wow, every day I can tell they're showing me that they care and it's making me feel good? I think that's going to be an important question. And does giving to this make Ophiuchus feel good? If all of that seems to be bringing up vibes of like, yeah, this feels successful, it's still one day at a time, because the Seven of Cups says it still doesn't necessarily mean that now we're going to be together forever. It could just be, let me take it one step at a time, and then we'll see what this could actually eventually evolve into. Can it be romance? Was it romance? Could it be romance again? Um, could it be friendship? Could it be, just like, wow, it feels good to talk to them sometimes on the phone. I know that they actually are showing me that they care about me. I think the biggest thing here is Ophiuchus cannot be forced into making a snap decision. They really have to give themselves time to think about things, time to evaluate, and then time to see if building something one little piece at a time makes this feel better. If making new memories is something that works for them. But I love the fact that this is one of those stories that says there is no instant reconciliation. They fall into each other's arms and now everything's supposed to be perfect and you're not allowed to still harbor hurt feelings or something. This is more like how a character might be able to reconnect with someone mindfully, carefully, so they don't throw away something that they might still want, but do they leap in with both feet and then find that, oh my God, I hate this. This is so, like, I'm so still hurt and I'm so toxic. I think what we've just seen is a way to navigate that by being patient with oneself. I mean, I think this Ophiuchus, we have two very mature people here. And there's love and there's the desire to treat one another well. But again, all that can be crashed down to the ground because of previous things that have happened and gone wrong. So this is all about how do two people that maybe have an honest desire to be their best selves and to not harm each other, how do they navigate this? Well, first off, they're coming across as much more mature anyway, but then it's like that mindfulness and that one step at a time approach, and not trying to have these expectations that everything's supposed to be perfect immediately now because somebody said sorry. That's not really the way this works. This still takes time. The apology takes time to sink in, the forgiveness takes time to sink in, and the figuring out where they go from there takes time to evolve. And I really liked the fact that this one, it made it more like relatable, I think, in little bite-sized pieces. Thank you guys. Thanks for Ophiuchus for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.